A delivery man was crossing the street when a speeding truck slammed into him. Barely alive, he cried for help. The driver stepped out but, seeing no cameras around, felt relieved instead of guilty. Rather than helping, he decided it was easier to finish the job than spend a lifetime paying for it. He got out of jail after just a year, showing no remorse. He even cursed the victim's mother for ruining his life. But someone had been watching. That night, as the driver soaked in his bath, a gloved hand suddenly shoved his head underwater. He kicked, thrashed, and begged, but the man in black didn't stop. Justice had come for him. When the police arrived, every security camera was wiped clean. There were no leads. The man in black? A police academy student named Ji-young. By day he trained to uphold the law. By night, he became a shadowy figure who punished criminals the system had failed to stop. Ji-young's thirst for justice began years ago. As a child, he watched his mother get murdered, killed by a man who was simply in a bad mood. The judge ruled it wasn't intentional and gave him just 3 years. Ji-young trembled in fear that day but made a silent vow. He would take justice into his own hands. 12 years later he was ready. His first target? His mother's killer. The man was beating a bus driver unconscious. Revenge for being reported. Ji-young followed him into a dark alley. This time the system wouldn't save him. Ji-young made sure of that. Back home, Ji-young looked at a photo of his mother and finally felt at peace. Before going to bed, he saw a news report about a man who broke into a house and urinated inside. When the homeowner tried to stop him, he was badly beaten. Since the criminal didn't run or destroy evidence, the court refused to arrest him. Later, he returned to harass the victim again, even threatening to kill their son. That night, Ji-young appeared, blocking the man's window with a wooden board. He beat him up and tossed him into a trash pile. News of the dark hero spread fast. Ji-young's friend Min fully supported him and hoped he would keep fighting for justice. The victim thanked the dark hero on TV, making Ji-young even more determined to protect the weak. Later, he found another case online, a doctor who secretly filmed and assaulted patients. Despite his crimes, he only got 6 months in prison and kept his medical license. Ji-young put on his black hoodie and headed to the clinic. The doctor had just injected anesthesia and turned on a hidden camera when Ji-young smashed through the glass, rushed in, and knocked him out with a sedative. He then crushed the doctor's hand under his foot, ensuring he could never practice again. A string of similar cases caught the attention of both the police and journalist Choi. She noticed all the victims were criminals who had committed serious crimes but received light sentences. Their cases had sparked public outrage. Choi made a show about the dark hero which quickly went viral. But what she didn't know was that Ji-young wasn't just out for revenge. If a criminal truly regretted their actions, he gave them a chance to change. Choi wanted to lure out dark hero and get a big story, so he exposed the face of Young, a criminal. Young had attacked a student at an amusement park but got only 7 years in prison by faking a mental illness. After seeing the news, Ji-young was furious. He secretly logged into the school's database to check Young's records. The public was outraged too. A crowd gathered outside Young's apartment, throwing rocks at his home. Feeling the pressure, Young tried to escape. At night, he drove off in secret, used a fake passport to create a false trail, and threw his ankle monitor into the sea. The police split into 2 teams. One went to the port to search for him, and the other stayed to protect the victim. After a whole day at the port, they found nothing but suspected he might escape by boat. That night, there were too many ships and too few officers. The team guarding the victim was called back, leaving only one officer outside her door. As another officer was leaving, he spotted a delivery man wearing a helmet and asked him to lift his mask. Once he confirmed it wasn't Young, he let him go. But moments later, Young attacked a man near the elevator and took his disguise. Dressed as the delivery guy, he reached the victim's home. When the officer outside lowered his guard, Young stabbed him. Hearing the noise, the girl opened the door only to be grabbed by Young. Despite his injuries, the officer fought back and told her to run. But Young caught her, his rage boiling over. He screamed that she had ruined his life, claiming that if he had killed her back then, he'd be living peacefully in prison instead of being hated by everyone. Just as he was about to act, Ji-young stormed in and kicked him away. Fueled by rage, he beat Young mercilessly until the criminal begged for mercy. Barely clinging to life, Young had no choice but to listen when Ji-young warned him. If he wanted to live, he had to write an apology letter. Choi realized the criminal wasn't trying to escape, he wanted revenge. She rushed to the scene, but it was too late. Ji-young was already gone. But this time, Choi got an even bigger story. The next day, news of Young's death spread everywhere. Police found evidence and confirmed it was murder. Their main suspect? The dark hero. Choi showed crime scene photos on her show, causing a huge buzz. To speed up the investigation, the police asked a professor from the academy for help. The professor believed the dark hero knew exactly how they worked. Meanwhile, a female student passing by criticized the police, saying they should reward the dark hero instead of hunting him down. The TV station got backlash. Some viewers called the dark hero a criminal, accusing Choi of making him look like a hero. But Choi didn't care, she only cared about ratings. That night, she revealed details of 3 criminals on her show, waiting to see which one the dark hero would target next. One of them was Koo, a runaway teen who broke into his ex-employer's home and killed his wife and 2 kids. He later blamed 2 minors and escaped punishment. He even bragged that the law couldn't touch him. Meanwhile, Ji-young was furious about Son's ruthless actions. He went to a nightclub where a girl attracted to his looks started flirting with him. But Ji-young only cared about Seo. Thinking he wanted to buy drugs, Seo pulled him into the hallway, put drugs in her mouth and kissed him. Ji-young's mind went blank. When he woke up the next morning, everything was a blur. Watching a touching video of the victim's family, Ji-young felt both sad and angry. He couldn't forget how Seo, the criminal, showed no remorse. After digging deeper, he discovered that Seo not only sold drugs but also targeted minors and hid his money in the countryside. To trap Seo, Ji-young left a phone number in his car, urging him to surrender. Seo's men checked it and found out it belonged to the anti-drug team. Panicked, Seo thought the police were onto him and rushed to his hideout, only to find his safe broken into and all his money gone. Outside, Ji-young stood, ready to burn the stolen cash. Seo tried to stop him but got knocked down. Ji-young ordered him to apologize to the victims and threw down a lighter. Furious, Seo grabbed a shovel and charged at him. But Ji-young didn't hold back. He wrapped a chain around Seo's neck and tied him to a metal frame. Seo begged for mercy, promising to apologize, but the next day the police found his body. The media exploded with news of the dark hero, again. Some people saw him as a vigilante, while politicians opposed him, insisting that justice was the police's job. The case became urgent and the regional unit took over. Leading the hunt was Captain Joo-hyuk, a fearless powerhouse who could lift a car with his bare hands. Even gangsters feared him. He tracked down one of Seo's men for clues. The guy, realizing he was a cop, tried to escape but failed. Even after getting caught, he acted tough, until the captain knocked him down with a punch. When asked about Seo, the man hesitated but eventually admitted that Seo once asked him to check a suspicious phone number, suspecting a young man was after him. But the captain got no solid leads. Meanwhile, Dark Hero inspired copycats. A new TV show covered cases where criminals got light sentences and soon an imitator appeared. He used the same brutal methods and even filmed his actions, sending the video to the media. He admitted that what he was doing was illegal, but he wouldn't stop, at least not until the law truly protected victims. Ji-young never thought his actions would cause so much chaos. Choi didn't believe this so-called dark hero was the real one. Jun agreed. While the methods were similar, the real dark hero never harmed women or children. Ji-young planned to lay low, but his sense of justice was reignited when something terrible happened. An old woman collecting scrap blocked the road. A rich man, impatient and annoyed, ran her over with his car, killing her. But even that wasn't enough for him. A nearby shop owner saw everything and attacked him in rage. When the police arrived, they took the injured rich man to the hospital, but shockingly they arrested the shop owner for assault. Ji-young was furious when he saw the news. He knew that old woman. Her husband was sick and she collected scraps to survive. Ji-young often helped her and in return she always gave him candy. Remembering this, he vowed to get justice for her. That night, Ji-young's brother went to the old woman's house, trying to pay off her family to keep quiet. No one answered. Ji-young followed him, beat him up, then tricked the police into leaving. He snuck into the rich man's hospital room, stuffed a milk bottle in his mouth, and threatened him. Either he would ask the judge for the maximum sentence, or Ji-young would make him suffer even more. Disguised as a doctor, Ji-young slipped away. But Joo-hyuk sensed something was off. He was about to chase him when he heard cries for help from the hospital room. Inside, the rich man was tied to the bed, too scared to move. Joo-hyuk realized the fake doctor was Dark Hero. At that moment, the security cameras all shut down. Meanwhile, Ji-young changed clothes and vanished into the night. He tried calling his brother but found his phone inside the milk bottle he had left behind. Suddenly, a man in black appeared and threw the rich man out of the window. Ji-young, watching in shock, saw the attacker escape down a rope and jump into an ambulance. Ji-young ran after him and leaped inside. The man greeted him excitedly. He was Dark Hero's biggest fan and wanted to fight for justice alongside him. But Ji-young wasn't impressed. He scanned the area cautiously. The imitator proudly claimed he had disabled all the cameras and had been helping Ji-young erase evidence. Without hesitation, Ji-young attacked him. This copycat was ruining everything. The fight was brutal. It ended with the imitator teetering on the edge of the rooftop, about to fall. Ji-young didn't care who the man in black was. He just wanted him to stay away. But this wasn't an ordinary guy. He was the vice chairman of a big company. He had found out that Choi recorded everything near the hospital last night. He quickly approached her, offering to sponsor her show in exchange for the video. But Choi refused. She wasn't willing to trade her journalism for money. She wanted to report the truth no matter what. Seeing her determination, the vice chairman decided to talk to her alone. Surprisingly, he admitted that he admired Dark Hero and supported his actions. He understood Choi's mission because he also wanted to expose the corruption in society. In the end, they realized they had the same goal, to protect Dark Hero. Meanwhile, Joo-hyuk was analyzing the crime scene. He noticed something strange. Dark Hero knew exactly how the police investigated and had erased all traces perfectly. Suspicious, he took his findings to a professor for advice and unexpectedly ran into Ji-young again. Looking at Ji-young's build, Joo-hyuk realized he resembled the mysterious doctor from last night. His suspicion grew. Later, he learned that some students helped create case analysis programs. Could Dark Hero be a cop? He asked to see student photos but the professor refused. Still, the idea stuck with him. The next day, the professor noticed Ji-young's bruised face and asked what had happened. Ji-young lied, saying he had a boxing match. The professor didn't believe him. Just then the police arrived. A girl had been harassed by drunk men last night, and Ji-young had stepped in to help. She came to thank him, and the police wanted his statement. This convinced the professor Ji-young wasn't Dark Hero. But it was all a setup by the vice chairman. He had predicted Ji-young would struggle to explain his injuries, so he arranged for the girl to cover for him. Ji-young realized he needed someone to help him clean up his messes, so he texted the vice chairman to meet the next day. Joan found Ji-young and warned him to stop using violence. He already knew Ji-young was Dark Hero. But Johan had a plan. He believed if the public saw Dark Hero as just an average-looking, unsuccessful guy, they would lose interest. So, they decided to frame an unremarkable person for all of Dark Hero's actions. The vice chairman was secretly watching their conversation. He called Ji-young, who immediately suspected he had leaked his secret to Joe. Honorable Ji-young canceled their meeting but left him with a challenge. If the vice chairman could clone Johan's phone, he'd consider working together. Not long after, the vice chairman sent a message, "Done." Ji-young went to a locker, grabbed a phone and checked Johan's call history. Meanwhile, a news report aired about an actor who had once been arrested for running an illegal website. He had been found dead. The case was linked to a businessman named Kim. Choi Sr. revealed that while Kim ran a legal business on the surface, he was secretly involved in illegal gambling. He acted charitable in public but was ruthless. Anyone who crossed him ended up as food for pigs. After getting an anonymous tip, Choi found a warehouse full of illegal gambling servers. She quickly took photos for evidence. Just then the door swung open and a hitman walked in. To protect the evidence, Choi Sr. distracted the hitman, allowing her to escape. Sadly, he was killed instantly. When the police arrived, the warehouse was already cleared out. No evidence was left. Desperate, Choi released the video online. It caught the attention of Dark Hero but also made her a target for Kim. The TV station boss, afraid of angering the powerful Chi-ball, blamed Choi for acting alone, saying she was responsible for the reporter's death. Choi stood her ground, revealing the truth was her duty and she wouldn't back down. As she left work, a thug attacked her, but Joo-hyuk arrived just in time. He warned her not to give Dark Hero more criminals to hunt, or she'd be in even greater danger. He took the thug away and forced him to reveal Kim's location. Armed with a shield and a trophy, Joo-hyuk stormed Kim's hideout, fighting off his men. The police arrived, sealed off the area, and claimed that Kim's men were part of Dark Hero's group. This abandoned factory was being used as a training ground for them. Joo-hyuk's real goal was to destroy Dark Hero's image. Determined to stop him, Ji-young targeted one of Kim's men, a repeat offender. Deep inside a bookstore, a girl lay unconscious. Ji-young grabbed the criminal by the hair and beat him senseless. He then forced him to open a safe, taking records of Kim's illegal deals. By the time the police arrived, all they found was another apology letter. The news spread and people realized the real Dark Hero was still out there punishing criminals. Joo-hyuk saw Ji-young ignoring his warnings and approached him again, giving him one last chance to stop using violence. But Ji-young had noticed something. Joo-hyuk never actually arrested him. It seemed like the captain handled things off the record, possibly following orders from someone powerful. Ji-young couldn't stand watching criminals destroy innocent lives while the law let them go free. If the system wouldn't protect the weak, then people had the right to fight back themselves. But Joo-hyuk wasn't interested in Ji-young's reasoning. He was more worried that Ji-young would lose himself in revenge and turn into a monster. He saw potential in Ji-young. He was smart and skilled. With the right guidance he could do great things. But if Ji-young crossed the line, Joo-hyuk would have to stop him. Ji-young wasn't in the mood for a debate. He just wanted to fight this stubborn cop. But he was no match for Joo-hyuk and lost quickly. Joo-hyuk, though, wasn't just another corrupt officer. He hated dirty cops too, but he was proud of his job. He looked at Ji-young with pity. He could have been a great officer. Struggling to stand, Ji-young revealed the truth about Kim and the police chief. He made a deal. If the law could punish them, he'd back off. But if the system failed, he'd take them down his own way. Meanwhile, the vice chairman had been watching everything. He stepped in, saved Ji-young, and promised to make those responsible pay. Before leaving, he even took a photo with Ji-young, his idol. Back at the station, Joo-hyuk faced the consequences. With no progress in the Dark Hero case, the chief suspended him and planned to remove him as team leader. But Joo-hyuk wasn't giving up. He turned a thug into an informant and secretly started investigating Kim and his allies. Elsewhere, reporter Choi lost her job after her report threatened the interests of powerful people. Ji-young saw an opportunity. He asked the vice chairman to help her keep exposing the truth. Soon, she had her own news company thanks to his support. Choi launched a new show, Standing Strong for Justice. She warned the public that if anything happened to her, it would be murder. And she called on everyone to keep supporting Dark Hero. After leaving the hospital, Ji-young kept digging into Kim's company records and uncovered shady deals with the police chief. They were laundering money through a church. That night, Ji-young knocked out one of the pastor's men and stole a USB drive full of transaction details. Just then he spotted the masked imitator nearby and chased after him. But the imitator seemed to enjoy the thrill of being hunted. The chase ended at a railing where the imitator finally stopped. He wanted Ji-young to accept him and work together for bigger things. Ji-young admitted he could use some help but asked him to take off his mask as a sign of trust. Without hesitation, the imitator removed it. To take down the corrupt leaders, Ji-young teamed up with the vice chairman. The plan was simple: first take out the pastor. Then, the vice chairman would hand over the USB to Choi, forcing the media to expose the crimes. If the case got covered up, Ji-young would personally go after Kim and reveal everything. The vice chairman thought the plan was too risky and could get Ji-young killed, but Ji-young didn't care. He was ready to go all in. The next day, Ji-young stormed into the pastor's office, took down his guards and beat him up. Soon, news broke that the pastor had died in the church. The police chief panicked, knowing he might be next. Meanwhile, Kim vowed to eliminate Joo-hyuk, Choi, and Dark Hero within 5 days. The vice chairman handed the USB to Choi, who prepared to expose Kim's crimes on live TV. But before she could, Joo-hyuk stopped her. He accused her of using Dark Hero's actions for cheap ratings and manipulating public opinion. It was dangerous, but Choi didn't care. When persuasion failed, Joo-hyuk decided to leave, but suddenly, a hitman appeared in his backseat. A brutal fight broke out inside the car, and Joo-hyuk managed to throw the assassin out. Then, a stronger attacker appeared and charged at him. Joo-hyuk was skilled, but fighting 2 armed men was too much. Just as things looked bad, Ji-young arrived and drove the attackers away. He then rushed Joo-hyuk to the hospital. A witness recorded the fight and the news spread fast. The vice chairman didn't get why Ji-young saved Joo-hyuk. He thought Joe would just be a burden. But Ji-young had a plan. He wanted to turn Joe into another dark hero. The next day, Kim ordered his men to transfer the server data. Meanwhile, Jong set their base on fire, knocked out 2 guards and stole a locked box. Choi immediately reported the fire on her show, calling it Dark Hero's attack against corruption. Soon after, the police raided Kim's company. Panicked, Kim begged the police chief for help, threatening to expose corrupt politicians. But the chief didn't care. He told Kim to stay in jail for 6 months, unless he got rid of Dark Hero first. Realizing the politicians had abandoned him, Kim decided to take matters into his own hands. His new target? Choi. He planned to capture her and force her to reveal Dark Hero's identity. Meanwhile, Ji-young donated the money he made from selling QQ coins to an orphanage. But this good deed backfired. The next day, the news reported that the orphanage director had been murdered. Ji-young instantly knew it was a trap set by Kim to lure him out. Thinking fast, Ji-young contacted the vice chairman. They needed to act before more innocent people died. At the same time, Choi spotted Kim's men on her security cameras. She quickly set up cameras in her office and started a live stream. Kim's men stormed in and captured her, but the vice chairman arrived just in time, taking them down. The police arrived shortly after and took Choi in for questioning. Seeing Choi safe, Ji-young felt relieved. During the interrogation, she insisted the man who saved her wasn't Dark Hero, because the real Dark Hero never used weapons. The next day, the new police captain questioned Ji-young, asking where he was during Choi's attack. He had already done his homework. He found out the former captain had asked a professor for student photos and had run into Ji-young at the professor's office. Ji-young's build matched Dark Hero's, and the phone used for the cryptocurrency sale was once turned on at Ji-young's school. The captain was suspicious and pushed for answers. But Ji-young refused. "That's my private life," he said. The captain, realizing he wouldn't get anything out of him, gave up and walked away. Ji-young returned with a group to search the school. Just then, the police tracked the crime phone's location. It was in the principal's office, which also belonged to the police chief. But this was all part of Ji-young's plan. He had purposely used the crime phone there and secretly hid another phone in a bookshelf. That phone had proof of the chief's secret connection with Kim, making the chief look suspicious. To keep the captain from revealing the truth, the chief staged a car accident and killed him. Joo-hyuk was devastated. He had lost his best friend. Ji-young was filled with guilt. He never thought his plan would lead to the death of an honest officer. Furious, Joo-hyuk punched Ji-young and accused him of risking everyone's lives. But Ji-young stood firm. He swore he'd keep fighting evil, even if it cost him his life. Seeing his determination, Joo-hyuk hesitated. Meanwhile, Choi had been missing for days. The vice chairman broke into her home and found it trashed. Choi had been kidnapped by a hitman, but despite being tortured, she refused to talk. Ji-young couldn't let an innocent person suffer, so he and the vice chairman acted fast. The vice chairman went to Kim's other office, where he had hidden a stash of money to distract the hitmen. At the same time, Jong caught a guy talking to Kim on the phone and forced him to repeat a message from the screen. Kim immediately called his top hitman and told him to head to the meeting place. Ji-young and the vice chairman, realizing the enemy was gathering forces, met on a rooftop to plan their next move. Afterward, the vice chairman drove away, and Ji-young started walking home when his friend Min suddenly called. Min had noticed Ji-young skipping school and acting strangely. Suspicious, he asked Ji-young what was going on. When Ji-young stayed silent, Min didn't push further but warned him not to skip school tomorrow. Kim arrived with thousands of men. They stormed into the control room, kicked out the staff and checked the cameras for any threats. When they spotted a man in black, Kim ordered his capture. But then more and more men in black appeared. Kim realized there was a Dark Hero-themed music festival nearby. It was all part of Ji-young's plan to distract him. Ji-young and the vice chairman blended into the crowd. Ji-young then revealed his location on purpose, making the hitmen chase him to create a chance to rescue Choi. At the same time, the vice chairman also exposed himself to draw attention away. Once Choi was safe, Ji-young handed her a phone and told her to start a live stream. It was the only way to expose the criminals. The captain saw the stream and rushed to the stadium with a group of former thugs. The police chief headed there too. Meanwhile, in the parking lot, chaos erupted. Ji-young and the vice chairman fought off waves of enemies, exhausted but determined. Just then, Joo-hyuk drove in and hit the strongest attacker with his car. He tried to get the hitmen to surrender, but Kim was too blinded by hatred. He only wanted to kill Ji-young. A man in black tried to stop Kim but got stabbed. Ji-young rushed over and saw it was his best friend Min. Min had always suspected Ji-young and once saw him and the vice chairman near the stadium, confirming his doubts. But he never exposed Ji-young because Ji-young was doing what Min never had the courage to do. In the end, Min sacrificed himself for justice. As the police arrived, Kim used the chaos to escape. Ji-young chased after him, determined to avenge his friend. The vice chairman held off the remaining enemies, giving Ji-young a clear path. But a hitman, secretly working for the deputy chief, had orders to kill Kim. Joo-hyuk arrived and demanded surrender. Kim, trusting no one, fought with everything he had, but he was no match for Ji-young. Joo-hyuk also stopped the hitman. Suddenly, the police chief locked the basement door. He shot Kim multiple times, then turned on the water valve, flooding the room. If everyone drowned, his secrets would never come out. Ji-young, following Jun's hint, climbed onto his shoulders and punched the chief hard. Jun stopped him before he could go further. The truth was now out in the open, and Joo-hyuk believed the law would take care of the criminals. The hitman climbed up, still set on killing Ji-young. The chief grabbed a gun and started shooting. Furious and no longer caring about the rules, Joo-hyuk knocked the chief out. Ji-young, using the last of his strength, stabbed the hitman. At that moment, Joo-hyuk finally understood why Ji-young took justice into his own hands. Later, during questioning, Choi lied and said Min, the one who had already died, was the real dark hero. This let Ji-young escape punishment and continue his fight for justice. When the vice chairman woke up, he immediately asked about Ji-young. His men reassured him that Ji-young was safe and that all security footage had been erased. They thought it was over, but the Blue House covered up the chief's crimes. Instead of exposing him, they honored him as a hero and even made him an honorary commissioner general after his death. The real villain still went unpunished. At the police academy graduation, the students raised their right hands to swear loyalty to the country, except Ji-young. He had lost all faith in it.